All right, so here we have our marvelous, lovely picture of Steve the alien, which you can see in the slides from 11.1 as well as, I'm sorry, not 11.1, 12.1 as well as 12.7. And what you can do when you get here, right click on it, click Save Image As, and I'm just going to type Steve original photo, just so that way I know which one it is. What you can do if you are on a Chromebook is tap it with 2 fingers on the touchpad, and that will give you the option to right click. Again, click Save Image As, so that way you can download it to your computer. What you're going to do next is go onto photopia.com. And when you get here, again, I would recommend having this bookmarked, so just so that you have that as a resource. Click on File in the top left corner, and then click on Open. What you're going to do when you get there is click on Steve Original Photo. Might be in your downloads instead of just like hanging out. Might also be in your recents folder, but wherever you save it, it's probably going to come up first. What you do when you get here, the first day's project was to just go into where it says Image, click on Adjustments, click on Levels, and all you had to do for this first part of the project was take this little white box, slide this boy over to about like 200, around I think like 200 is a good number. This is adjusting the whites just to kind of lighten it up a little bit, and then just click OK. If you want to go back a step, you can click over here where it says history, click on the step prior, and that'll back it up to that point. Like basically go back to a former version. What you're going to do now is you're going to save it as 2 different formats. First one, I'm going to click File, Save as PSD. That's saving it as a Photoshop format. A Photoshop document is what it stands for. This is a big document file that has all of the layers, so that way if you need to go back in and edit it again, which we will be doing, you have all of the layers. So like for the next few steps, it's going to be really helpful. The next thing you're going to do is click File, Export As, and you can either click on PNG or JPEG. Either one of these two works. I'm going to click on JPEG, and then I'm just going to click Save. And that is what I'm going to upload for the 12.1 Google Classroom assignment. That is for the, adjusting Steve's lighting picture. I think something like that, like Steve just needs to have better lighting. So for the 12.7, click on Add or Create, and you can just click on File and click on this. So in terms of the project for 12.7, this is where we start to edit his selfie, where we have 2 main goals and 1 optional additional goal. First main goal is to blur his forehead. The second main goal is to copy his mouth, so he has 2 mouths, or to clone his mouth. After that, you have the option of using the brush to draw eyelashes on. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on his forehead so that way I can blur out his lines. On the toolbar on the left-hand side, all the way on the bottom, is this little zoom in kind of magnifying glass. I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to click on his forehead to zoom in. If I go too far, I can click on the minus sign up here and zoom out. Click on the plus sign to zoom in. So I'm going to start going in with the blur tool. The blur tool is going to just blur and make everything a little bit smoother. And because this is recording, feel free to stop and start it at any point. So that way, like if you need a minute to catch up, you can pause it. I'm going to click on this little teardrop guy over here. It says blur tool. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So right now, I can see up here by clicking on it, the size is at 15. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. I'm going to grab that and just slide it over to like 50 or so. And then I'm just going to click with my mouse and just drag along for these forehead lines just to kind of smooth everything out. So we can smooth all of that out. Look at that, making him look like he's so much less stressed by the world. You can do more than just the forehead if you want to scroll down and do some of the cheekbones, under the nose, and just soften a lot of it. I'm going to be careful not to overdo it because I don't want to get it into like the eyes. If I do overdo it, I'll just go over to here where it says history and I can go back to a step. before I overdid it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click File, Save as PSD to download it, just so that way I avoid, if my computer dies, I don't want all of my work to be lost. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the clone tool, and I'm going to show you two different ways to get there. The first way is by clicking on this little stamp looking thing on the left-hand toolbar. Just like before, I'm going to click on the circle with the number underneath it and drag this up to about like 40 or so. Here's the trick with doing this. I'm going to click with one hand, one of the keys on my keyboard, and with my other hand, I'm going to navigate with the mouse. So it takes two hands for this. So first, with my left hand, I'm going to hold down the Alt key on my keyboard. And while I'm holding it down, I'm going to put my mouse over the mouth. I'm going to click, and then I'm going to lift my hand off of the Alt key. And you can see my mouse now has the mouth cloned onto it. Where I press it down, I can just click and drag, and it's going to copy that area. If it doesn't work for you to use the Alt key, you can use the letter K. It works the same exact way. So I'm going to click K. I'm going to click the mouth. Same thing. I'm going to lift my hand off the letter K, and I'm going to just drag that around. The other way that I can do this, so for those of you, if you are having a glitch where you see a red circle showing up on your screen, this is a glitch with Chromebooks that I noticed. I'm just going to show you a workaround for that, so that way you can avoid that. So this is only if the clone tool is giving you that glitch where you see a red circle show up on your screen. So I'm going to click on this little rectangle in the top left corner. I'm going to cover the mouth in the rectangle, so that way it's covering the whole mouth. I'm going to click Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste. So I'm copying and pasting it. What you'll notice is that now there are two layers over here on the right-hand side. You have layer 1 and you have background. If I get rid of the background by making it invisible, you can see that I have layer 1 as a copy of the mouth, but it pasted right on top of my picture of the mouth. So I'm going to make sure I'm clicking layer 1. I'm going to click on the little cursor in the top left corner, and I'm going to just click where the mouth is, where the copy of it is, and just drag that bad boy up above the other mouth. For either way, one thing that I would suggest, you do not have to do, but I recommend it, is take that blur tool afterwards and just blur it at the corners just to make it look a little bit more natural. You can make the size a little bit smaller. You can just kind of blend that crease just to soften it. So the last step for the 12-7 part is optional. What you're going to do, if you'd like to do it, is click on the brush tool. And then you can choose what color you want to use. I'm going to draw eyelashes, so I want it to be kind of a dark color. I'm going to click down here where I see this kind of dark purple. I can move this around. Let's say I want to go with black. When I have it at a color that I want, I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to click at the top here where it has the size of my brush, and I'm just going to bring that down maybe to like a 6. Then I can click down where I want to brush and just drag my mouse while I hold it down to make the eyelashes. So let's do that. So I'm going to just zoom out just to kind of survey my work. A little trick that I like to do when I want to zoom out is I click on the magnifying glass, and up here I just click on Fit the Area, and it basically just makes it all fit on my screen. Again, if you need to go back any steps, you can click on the history up here, and it'll bring you back to that particular level. So again, there are two ways that I want to save this. File, Save as PSD, and that's going to save it so that way for tomorrow's class or for the next class, I can keep building on this as a Photoshop document. And that's saved to my computer now. And then I'm going to click File, Export As, and I'm going to just click JPEG for right now and click Save. And I'm going to upload that to the spot for the 12-7 Google Classroom assignment.